What you're about to witness will change everything you thought you knew about Bronson Reed, the unstoppable monster, the tsunami, the man who's been destroying everyone in his path for months, broke down on live television. And I'm telling you right now, WWE doesn't want you talking about this. They don't want you sharing this video. Because what happened on Smackdown exposes a side of their programming that's either pure genius or an absolute disaster waiting to happen. And before you drop your comment saying, "It's all scripted, bro," trust me, what you're about to hear goes way deeper than that. Let me ask you something that's going to make a lot of you furious. When did WWE fans become so cold-hearted that we can't handle emotion anymore? When did vulnerability become weakness? Because the comment section is about to be a war zone, and I already know exactly what some of you are typing right now. Bronson Reed crying? He's soft. This is why wrestling is dead. Real men don't cry. And you know what? That kind of thinking is exactly why this moment matters. That's exactly why Triple H and the creative team made this decision. They knew you'd react like this. They wanted this controversy. And guess what? You're playing right into their hands. But here's the twist nobody's talking about. This wasn't just about Bronson Reed crying. This was about a 300-pound wrecking machine being pushed to his absolute breaking point in a way we've never seen before. And what happened in that ring? It might just be the most brilliant character work WWE has done in years. Or it could be the biggest mistake of 2024. Let's break this down. First, let's rewind and talk about who Bronson Reed actually is, because if you've been sleeping on this man's journey, you need to wake up right now. Bronson Reed isn't some overnight success story. This is a man who grinded for years on the independent scene, dominated NXT, got released during the pandemic cuts, and then fought his way back to WWE with something to prove. When he returned, he didn't come back asking for opportunities. He came back taking them. Remember when he took out Seth Rollins? Not once, not twice, but multiple times with those devastating tsunamis from the top rope. The man turned Seth into a broken mess and established himself as one of the most dangerous forces in WWE. He's been on an absolute tear, destroying legends, demolishing rising stars, and building himself up as an unstoppable monster. The Bronson Reed we knew didn't show mercy. He didn't show remorse. He showed dominance, pure, unfiltered aggression. Every match was a statement. Every victory was punctuated by more punishment. This wasn't just a wrestler. This was a force of nature. So when I tell you that this man, this monster, broke down in tears on live television, you need to understand the magnitude of that moment. This wasn't some emotional babyface getting teary-eyed after a heartfelt promo. This was a complete character evolution happening right before our eyes. Now let's talk about what actually happened on Smackdown, because the context is everything. The show opened with Bronson Reed in the ring. The crowd was hot. They were ready for another typical Reed promo. Threats, intimidation, maybe another call-out. Standard procedure for a monster heel, right? Wrong. What we got instead was Bronson Reed doing something we've never seen from him. He started talking about his journey. Not the highlight reel version you see in video packages. The real journey. The struggles, the doubts, the times he thought he'd never make it back to WWE, the nights he questioned if he was good enough. And then, the bomb dropped. Reed started talking about his family, his kids, how they watched him get released and didn't understand why Daddy wasn't on TV anymore, how he had to explain to his children that sometimes you can do everything right and still lose, how he promised them he'd fight his way back, not just for himself, but to show them that you never give up. The emotion in his voice was building. The crowd, which had been ready to boo this man out of the building, went silent. You could hear a pin drop. And then it happened. Bronson Reed's voice cracked. His eyes welled up. And right there, on live Smackdown, in front of millions of viewers, the tsunami broke down. He tried to compose himself. You could see him fighting it, trying to maintain that monster persona. But the tears came anyway. Real, genuine emotion pouring out of this 300-pound destroyer. It was uncomfortable. It was raw. It was real. And the WWE Universe? They didn't know how to react. Some people started a "Thank you, Bronson" chant. Others sat in stunned silence. The wrestlers in the back? Cameras caught their reactions, genuine surprise, respect, confusion. This wasn't your typical WWE moment. This was something else entirely. Now here's where things get spicy and why I know this video is about to blow up. The internet exploded, and not in a good way, at least not entirely. One camp is saying this is revolutionary storytelling, that WWE is finally treating their performers as real people with real emotions, not just cartoon characters. That showing vulnerability doesn't make you weakness, it makes you human. That Bronson Reed just elevated himself from a good monster heel to a legitimate multi-dimensional character. The other camp, they're furious. They're saying WWE is ruining wrestling, that monsters shouldn't cry, that this soft approach is killing the business, that Reed just destroyed months of character building in one segment. And you know what the craziest part is? Both sides might be right. Let me explain something about professional wrestling that a lot of fans seem to forget. The best characters are the ones that blur the line between the performance and the performance. Stone Cold Steve Austin was Steve Williams turned up to 11. The Rock was Dwayne Johnson's charisma weaponized. CM Punk's pipe bomb worked because it was real frustration filtered through a wrestling lens. What Bronson Reed did on Smackdown was potentially step through that door into legendary territory, or he could have just muddied the waters so badly that his character never recovers. Here's my take, and I want you to comment whether you agree or not. Monsters can cry. Villains can be vulnerable. Because you know what's scarier than a one-dimensional bad guy? A villain who you understand. A villain who has reasons for his rage. Think about the greatest villain in movie history, Darth Vader. What made him truly legendary? Not just the power, not just the intimidation. It was when we learned his story, when we saw his pain, when we understood why he became a monster. Bronson Reed might have just done the same thing. Now let me share with you the theory that nobody is talking about, and it's going to blow your mind. What if this wasn't about making Bronson Reed sympathetic? What if Triple H is playing 4D chess right now? Think about it. Reed breaks down, shows emotion, gets the crowd slightly on his side, and then uses that sympathy as fuel for even more destruction. Imagine him saying in the coming weeks, I opened my heart to you people, I showed you my soul, and you still don't respect me. You still don't see me as a main eventer. So now, I'm going to destroy everything until you have no choice but to acknowledge me. That's not a babyface turn. That's a villain origin story on steroids. The tears weren't the end of Monster Bronson Reed, they were the birth of something even more dangerous. A villain who's not just angry, but justified in his anger. A monster who tried to be human and got burned for it. If WWE follows through on this, we're looking at potential star-making material, the kind of character work that creates legends. But if they fumble this, if they don't have a clear direction, this moment becomes a meme, a punchline. Remember when WWE had Bronson Reed cry for no reason moment? The next few weeks will tell us everything. So, here's the bottom line, WrestleScope family. Bronson Reed bursting into tears on Smackdown was either the bravest creative decision WWE has made this year, or a catastrophic misread of their audience. But here's what I believe. Wrestling needs moments like this. We need performers who are willing to take risks. We need stories that make us feel something beyond just good guy versus bad guy. We need characters with layers. Does that mean every monster should cry? No. Does it mean vulnerability equals weakness? Absolutely not. It means that in 2024, WWE is trying to evolve beyond the simple storytelling formulas, and that's going to make some people uncomfortable. Bronson Reed took a massive swing on Smackdown. Whether it's a home run or a strikeout, we won't know for weeks or months. But you know what? I respect the attempt. I respect a performer willing to put himself out there like that, and I respect a company willing to try something different. The question is, do you respect it? Or are you too stuck in the old way of thinking to appreciate where this story might be going? Look, I know this video has you feeling some type of way. Whether you're angry, intrigued, confused, or inspired, I want to hear from you right now. Smash that like button if you think Bronson Reed's emotional moment was powerful storytelling. Destroy that dislike button if you think WWE dropped the ball. But most importantly, get down in those comments and tell me, was this genius or garbage? Are you excited to see where this is going, or are you already tuning out? And if you're new to WrestleScope, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because we're going to be following this story every single week. This channel is where we dive deep into the stories that matter, the moments that create controversy, and the angles that get people talking. Share this video with every wrestling fan you know who has an opinion on this. And trust me, they all have opinions. Let's get this conversation trending. Let's show WWE that we're paying attention to the risks they take. Bronson Reed cried on Smackdown. The wrestling world is divided. And this story, it's only just beginning. I'm out. Keep watching, keep debating, and I'll see you in the next one.